September 1984. The Dalles, Oregon. The air is crisp, hinting at an approaching autumn. Inside a bustling local restaurant, diners enjoy their lunch, completely unaware of the invisible enemy lurking in the salad bar. A woman in orange robes, Ma Anand Sheela, calmly drizzled a colored liquid over the lettuce. Her serene demeanor hides a sinister intent. She glances around, ensuring no one is watching, then returns to her table as if nothing happened. Within hours, the first wave of symptoms begins: stomach aches, chills, then violent vomiting and diarrhea. First a few people, then dozens, then hundreds. Local clinics and hospitals are soon overwhelmed, baffled by the sudden, widespread outbreak. Doctors and nurses scramble, trying to find the cause. But every clue points to a shared, mysterious event. This isn't just a routine hygiene issue, it's the opening salvo of the largest bioterror attack in U.S. history. A calculated strike, not aimed at mass fatalities, but designed to steal an election. The goal was to manipulate democracy from within, to alter the power structure of a small but proud county. This attack would forever reshape how America viewed domestic threats and the power of an organized cult when it reached beyond the bounds of pure religious devotion. The seeds of fear were sown, and the consequences would reverberate for decades to come. This chilling prologue is merely the beginning of a much more complex tale of power, control, and the unraveling of an empire. The innocent people of the Dalles had become pawns in a much larger game, a game played by those who believed they were reshaping the world according to their own vision. To understand the bioterror attack in the Dalles, we must step back and explore the origins of this cult, and the two central figures who shaped it: Ma Anand Sheela, the indomitable lioness, and Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh, the silent master with material ambitions. Ma Anand Sheela, the lioness and the product manager. Born Sheela Ambalal Patel in Baroda, India. In 1949, Ma Anand Sheela was the youngest of 6 children from a well-to-do Gujarati family. At 18, she moved to the United States, attending Montclair State College in New Jersey, where she met her first husband, Mark Harris Silverman. Her life took a profound turn in 1972 when she returned to India with her husband to pursue spiritual studies, becoming a devoted disciple of Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh. Sheela herself admitted she wasn't drawn to Bhagwan for spiritual reasons, but rather fell in love with him. Viewing meditation as a product that generated income, this pragmatic, almost ruthless approach to the spiritual movement would define her leadership. After her first husband's death in 1980, she married John Shelfer, a fellow Rajneesh follower. Her motivations appear to be a potent mix of intense loyalty to Bhagwan, a fierce desire for power, and a combative nature when defending what she saw as her master's empire against external threats. She wasn't afraid of confrontation, nor of using the most extreme measures to achieve her goals, believing she was serving a higher purpose, one illuminated by Bhagwan. This confidence, bordering on arrogance, combined with her extraordinary organizational skills, made her a formidable force. Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh, the silent master and the material mystic. Born Chandra Mohan Jain on December 11, 1931 in Kuchwada, India, Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh was an intelligent yet rebellious child who claimed to have achieved enlightenment at the age of 21 on March 21, 1953. He taught philosophy at Jabalpur University before introducing his unique practice of dynamic meditation in 1970. Rajneesh's philosophy starkly diverged from traditional asceticism, instead advocating for the full embrace of life, including sexual freedom and material wealth. He became infamous for his opulent lifestyle, notably amassing a collection of 93 Rolls-Royces, some sources cite 99. While outwardly a spiritual leader, his motivations were also intertwined with wealth accumulation and the creation of his own utopian society. During his period of silence in Oregon, he largely remained behind the scenes, communicating only with a select few, primarily Ma Anand Sheela, which would later become a critical point of contention. His silence was not a relinquishing of power, but a tactic to consolidate power in Sheela's hands, who would then carry out his will. Albeit covertly, he was a master manipulator, one who knew how to use the devotion of his disciples to build an empire without having to get his own hands dirty. With the groundwork laid, let's look at how the Rajneeshpuram Empire was built and what led to the terrifying escalation of tensions in Oregon. The Oregon Foothold, 1981-1982. May 1981. Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh arrives in the United States on a tourist visa, ostensibly for medical treatment, though he never sought outside medical care, leading to later immigration fraud charges. By July 10, 1981, Ma Anand Sheela, acting for the Rajneesh Foundation International, purchases the 229-acre Big Muddy Ranch in Wasco County, Oregon, for a staggering $5.75 million in cash, equivalent to approximately $19.9 million in 2025 dollars. The ranch is renamed Rancho Rajneesh. August 29, 1981, Bhagwan moves to the newly acquired ranch. May 1982. The residents of Rancho Rajneesh vote to incorporate their settlement as the city of Rajneeshpuram. This legal maneuver exploited loopholes in Oregon's land use laws, granting them governmental powers to control zoning, build infrastructure, and operate without external oversight. April 1982. Sheela orchestrates a stealthy takeover of the nearby town of Antelope, population 75. Approximately 60 Rajneeshees move into Antelope, buy property, register to vote, and swiftly win control of the town council in the November 1982 election. The town is then controversially renamed Rajneesh. Rising tensions and militarization, 1983-1984. Late 1982, early 1983. Alarm bells ring in Salem, Oregon. The state's Attorney General, Dave Frohnmayer, argues that the fusion of religion and government in Rajneeshpuram violates the Constitution. Lawsuits are filed, and by 1983 the state cuts off funding and services to Rajneeshpuram. June 1983. A bomb detonates at the Rajneeshee-owned Hotel Rajneesh in Portland, planted by the Islamist militant group Jamaat-ul-Fuqra. No one is killed, but the incident significantly escalates tensions and fuels Sheela's narrative of external persecution. Post-bombing, the Rajneeshpuram Peace Force, composed of fiercely loyal ex-military recruits, begins stockpiling an arsenal of weapons, including Israeli Galil rifles, 357 Magnums, and Uzi submachine guns. They establish watchtowers and conduct patrols. A surveillance state emerges. Sheela implements an extensive, multi-layered surveillance operation. Every phone line is tapped, council meetings are bugged, and hidden microphones are installed in offices and even in Bhagwan's private residence, all unbeknownst to him. Early 1984, Sheela's public statements become increasingly aggressive, including her infamous tough titties remark and calling the Attorney General a bag of dirt on live television. Rural Oregonians form armed vigilance committees, and the Oregon National Guard prepares contingency plans for a potential standoff, the Share a Home program and voter fraud. Spring-fall 1984. Spring-summer 1984. Sheela launches the Share a Home program, a thinly veiled attempt to import voters. Chartered buses fan out across the country, recruiting thousands of homeless individuals to come to Rajneeshpuram with promises of food, shelter, and clothing. The program cost the Rajneeshees approximately $1 million. Goal register these new arrivals as Rajneeshee voters in Wasco County to overwhelm the local election and gain political control. Chaos and collapse. The influx of over 4,000 homeless people strains Rajneeshpuram's resources, leading to fights and unrest. Rumors spread that Sheela's team is secretly drugging troublesome homeless individuals with Haldol-laced beer to keep them docile. State intervention Oregon officials scramble, discovering a loophole allowing same-day voter registration. The state legislature convenes an emergency session to close this loophole before Election Day. Abrupt abandonment. Sensing failure and facing national scandal, Sheela orders many of the homeless to be abruptly expelled, busing them to cities like Portland and the Dalles. Late October 1984. The Share a Home program largely fails to achieve its electoral goals, with many homeless never registered to vote. Cornered. Sheela makes a thoughtful decision: if they can't win the vote, they will ensure their opponents cannot cast theirs. Ma Anand Sheela's fateful decision led them down a new path: biological warfare. The operation was codenamed Project Salsa. The covert biolab and initial strikes March-August 1984. March 29, 1984. In a secret lab within Rajneeshpuram, cult members cultivated a potent strain of Salmonella enterica typhimurium. As a test, 2 visiting Wasco County commissioners are served water laced with the bacteria during a meeting at the commune. Both fall severely ill, and one requires hospitalization. This was a sophisticated attack, targeting figures of authority. Additionally, Rajneeshee operatives also attempted to spread salmonella on produce in grocery stores and on doorknobs and urinal handles in the Wasco County Courthouse, though these efforts proved largely ineffective. Ma Anand Sheela and Ma Anand Puja are identified as the leaders who purchased the salmonella from a medical supply company, disguising their true purpose under the guise of legitimate research. The mass poisoning. September-October 1984. Late September, early October 1984. The Dalles, Wasco County's largest city, becomes the target. Rajneeshee operatives, often a woman in orange robes like Ma Anand Puja, discreetly visit 10 local restaurants, concealing plastic bags containing a light brown liquid with the salmonella bacteria dubbed Salsa. They drizzle it over salad bar fixings, pour it into salad dressings, and even contaminate tabletop coffee creamers and potato salads. The contamination was silent, unnoticed by anyone as the horror was prepared. The sickness spreads.
Charge to 200.
On September 17, 1984, the Wasco Sherman Public Health Department begins receiving reports of widespread gastroenteritis. Within days, clinics and hospitals are overflowing with patients suffering from severe vomiting, diarrhea, fever, chills, headaches, and abdominal pain. The entire community fell into a state of panic and confusion, with no one able to explain the scale of the outbreak. Devastating impact. A total of 751 people are infected with salmonellosis, ranging in age from infancy to 87 years old. 45 individuals require hospitalization, though, miraculously, no one dies. This was an astonishing number for a small town, paralyzing medical services and instilling deep fear within the community. Initial confusion. Health inspectors initially suspect poor hygiene or accidental contamination. However, the sheer scale and geographic spread raise suspicions among locals that the Rajneeshees are behind the poisonings. They had witnessed the cult's aggressive and mysterious actions for years, and the coincidence was too great to ignore. Election Day defiance. Despite the widespread illness and fear, the bioterror attack backfires. On Election Day in November 1984, outraged citizens of the Dalles, fueled by suspicion and a sense of violation, turn out in record numbers. They vote overwhelmingly against the Rajneeshee candidates, who suffer a humiliating landslide defeat. The Rajneeshees ultimately withdraw their candidates from the ballot. Only 239 of the commune's 7,000 residents vote, many of whom were not citizens. This was a complete tactical failure, turning an act of atrocity into a symbol of community resistance and solidarity. The cult had underestimated the spirit of the local populace and paid a heavy price for its hubris. After the humiliating election defeat and the bioterror attack, the Rajneeshee's protective wall began to crumble. Internal betrayal and flight. September 1985. The post-election fallout left Sheela's schemes in tatters. Federal and state investigators quietly began probing the commune's activities. Bhagwan, who had maintained a public vow of silence for 4 years, began to stir. On September 15, 1985, he called a press conference, his first public statement in years, and unleashed a torrent of accusations against Ma Anand Sheela and her inner circle. Bhagwan claimed Sheela ran a fascist state within the commune, wiretapped his own living quarters, poisoned local officials, including his personal physician, Dr. George Meredith, and plotted assassinations against U.S. attorneys. He insisted he was oblivious to these criminal activities during his period of silent meditation. 2 days before Bhagwan's public denunciation, on September 13, 1985, Ma Anand Sheela and approximately 20 of her closest aides fled Rajneeshpuram in 2 private planes, vanishing into Europe. They shredded documents, pocketed diamonds, and bundled cash. The federal crackdown, October-November 1985. Within 48 hours of Bhagwan's revelations, Oregon Attorney General Dave Frohnmeyer and federal investigators formed a joint task force. State police, FBI agents, and U.S. Marshals descended on Rajneeshpuram with search warrants, damning evidence. In a hidden laboratory on the ranch, investigators discovered vials of salmonella bacteria, genetically identical to the strain used in the Dalles attack. A fortified basement revealed an armory of semi-automatic weapons, enough to equip a militia. Sheela's private office yielded tens of thousands of hours of secret audio recordings from the extensive wiretapping operation. Most chillingly, a locked safe contained a handwritten hit list, including the name of Charles Turner, the U.S. Attorney for Oregon, who would later prosecute the case. Sheela's arrest and conviction. On October 28, 1985, German police located and arrested Sheela at a hotel bar. She offered no resistance, even smiling, as if expecting it. Her accomplices are rounded up across Europe. She is extradited to the U.S. and faces charges including attempted murder, assault, product tampering, illegal wiretapping, arson, and immigration fraud. On July 22, 1986, Sheela pleads guilty to first-degree assault, conspiracy to commit assault, arson, and wiretapping. She is sentenced to 3 concurrent 20-year federal prison terms, which are ultimately reduced to 4.5 years. She serves a mere 29 months in a minimum security federal prison, and is fined $470,000. On December 13, 1988, she is released for good behavior and deported to West Germany, later settling in Switzerland. In 1999, a Swiss court convicts her of criminal acts preparatory to the commission of murder in connection with the plot against Charles Turner, sentencing her to time already served. Bhagwan's escape attempt and deportation. The FBI does not believe Bhagwan's claims of ignorance. A federal grand jury secretly indicts him on immigration charges, including arranging sham marriages for foreign disciples and lying on visa applications. On October 27, 1985, Bhagwan attempts to flee the country in 2 chartered Learjets from Oregon, destined for Bermuda. During a refueling stop in Charlotte, North Carolina, U.S. Marshals, FBI agents, and local police surround the planes and arrest him and 8 followers. He is charged with 35 counts of immigration violations. Rather than face a lengthy trial, Bhagwan negotiates an Alford plea, pleading guilty to 2 counts of immigration fraud. He receives a 10-year suspended sentence, a $400,000 fine, and an order for immediate deportation, banned from re-entering the U.S. for 5 years. He leaves the U.S. in November 1985, with Sheela gone and Bhagwan deported. The Rajneeshee empire rapidly implodes. Many of the 7,000 followers abandon the commune. Rajneeshpuram is officially dissolved as a city within months. The grand buildings are sold off or abandoned, and the infrastructure crumbles. The 93 Rolls-Royces, or 99 depending on the source, are impounded and later auctioned off. The total investment in Rajneeshpuram from 1981-1985 is estimated at $50–75 million, which would be equivalent to approximately $150–125 million in 2025 terms. The fates of the leaders. Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh. After his deportation, 21 countries deny him entry. He eventually returns to Pune, India, revives his ashram and rebrands himself as Osho in 1988, and dies on January 19, 1990 at the age of 58. He maintains until his death that he was a victim of American religious persecution. Ma Anand Sheela. She continues to live in Switzerland, running 2 nursing homes under the name Sheila Bernstein. She has never publicly apologized or shown remorse for her actions, consistently asserting in interviews that she merely protected her people. The lingering question, a blueprint for subversion. The Rajneeshee saga stands as a chilling testament to the vulnerability of democratic systems. They exploited incorporation laws, voter registration, and local elections to seize power from within. They poisoned 751 Americans, came within a few thousand votes of hijacking an entire Oregon county, armed themselves like a paramilitary force, and surveilled their own compound like a police state. Yet, the mastermind, Ma Anand Sheela, served only 29 months in prison, and their leader, Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh, served 0 days. The Black Dossier's team is left with a haunting question: was Bhagwan truly an oblivious victim? Or was his public denunciation of Sheela a calculated move to save himself, making him the most convincing criminal in American history? The Rajneeshees didn't fail because the system flawlessly worked. They failed because they turned on each other. What if they hadn't? This case serves as a stark warning: the tools of democracy, when understood and exploited, can become weapons in the hands of those seeking to undermine it.